So let's start with comprehension and production. Comprehension is everything that you understand, and production is the actual language that you make. So what we know is that comprehension usually precedes production. We understand a lot more than what we're actually able to communicate, and this stands for children and babies. So some of the first types of communication are going to be pre-linguistic. So before they even develop rudimentary language, they're going to basically use different sounds to communicate meaning. So a baby might look at you and make a sound, and you might infer that they either want to be picked up or held, or even if they cry, certain cries mean different things. The very first beginnings of language are something called babbling. So what you notice in babbling, it's meaningless, but it's a phenomenon that's found across different people and places, and it matches the language that the child speaks. So if the child's parents speak a certain language, their babbling sounds closer to that. And even we see with children who are born deaf, if they're raised in a household, people who don't speak and use sign language, they will actually babble with. Okay, so let's cover the other types of language. So the next one that we're going to talk about are halio phrases. So this is when a child says one word like ma or up, and you know from experience and context that in that situation, ma means come pick me up or come cuddle me. And then up doesn't mean they don't want you to look up, right? They want you to pick them up. So something else that children do very often is something called telegraphic speech. So telegraphic speech means that the child is saying one word or two words, and they have different meanings. So there's something called overextension and underextension. So with overextension, it means that they use one word to mean a lot of different things. So they might use car to represent car, truck, train, etc. Then they might use cup, which is a very general word, to represent their specific sippy cup at home. Again, these are the ways that children first learn to communicate and express their ideas. Nature versus nurture, take a million. So nurture in this situation is going to be the learning approach. So this is basically saying that all the language that we learn and we understand, we've learned through practice over time. Nature, or basically we are designed that way from birth, is going to be the nativist approach, basically saying that all of us have LAD, or a language acquisition device, okay? Which enables us to use something called universal grammar, which means that regardless of what language you speak, they follow very similar rules no matter where you are in the world. Now, we know, like often, the truth is somewhere between nature and nurture. It's kind of in the middle. And we know that the language exposure that you receive matters a lot. It matters on how you construct language, how you use it, and how sophisticated your language is. And lots of times that relates to your thinking. But we as human beings are naturally designed to speak in an efficient and effective manner that is very different from any other organism on the planet. So our ability to speak language is Okay, so we're going to finish this up and we're going to pick up on the learning theory approach. The learning theory approach essentially says what is reinforced increases. So if you reinforce your child's approximations, then you're going to increase their speaking in their language. And this kind of ties in to what we see at the very bottom. So this has to do with SES and parenting. I want you to read over this slide. The take-home message from this slide is that children who are in low SES environments, so remember SES stands for socioeconomic status or socioeconomic status, and it basically means that where your parents, what jobs they have, how much money they have, what their social standing in society is related to your overall performance. And we know that kids who have parents who are on welfare by 4 years old, they actually hear 13 million fewer words directed at them. Okay, you have another video in this. It's called the word gap, and this would be according to which side, nature or nurture? It's their environment.